Hey everybody, Patty Ann here. I know a lot of you have been wanting to do this design and some people have made some videos, but I thought I would make one for you. Um, this is one that I've done with the word dance. I also did one, let's see if I can file, merge it in here. I did one with the word Steelers. Let's open that up. And of course with my Steelers, I like to have that be gold text perhaps. And I would probably put that on a black shirt. So just so you can see what that would look like, let me draw a box around this, change the box color to black, and right click and say send to back. And that's what my Steelers shirt could look like. All right, so let's just start with this and I'll show you how to do this one. And I'm going to show you how to use it in Cricut Design Space also. There's one little trick, one little tip for what you need to do at the end so it's going to work perfectly in Design Space. So in order to do this for Design Space, you'll have to have the business edition of this software, but you can get the free version of the software to try it and see if you like doing this. So here's what we'll do. The first thing you're going to do is just come over here to the text tool on the left, click on that, and this time I'll type in the word cheer, just for something different. Cheer. Okay? And then I'm going to just make it larger. And I'm also going to change the font. I'll change it. You come over here to the right-hand side to the text style panel to change the font. And I'm going to change it to Freshman this time. Okay, I'm just going to leave it like that to Freshman. So let me click off of this so we can see. That looks pretty good. It's a little bit wide probably for a young girl's shirt. So I'll make it more like a 7.5 maybe. Like that. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do to get this working is to duplicate this. And now the way I like to duplicate things in Silhouette is just hold down my Alt key, and I want you to pay attention to the hand, the cursor finger there. When I click on my Alt key, watch what happens. It turns into a plus sign. And that plus sign allows me to duplicate. There are other ways you can duplicate. There are several. But that's what I'm going to do this time. Just duplicate it and move it off to the side. And I'm going to start with this piece now. So the first thing we need to do with this is to create an inner offset so we can have the text be like it is up here in the word dance. So to create an internal offset, just have your object or your text selected and come down here to this star that looks like it has an offset around it. Click on it. That opens the offset panel. And then let me move this over. There we go. We'll create an internal offset. It always comes up with this default amount of 0.125. That's too much for my purposes today. I'm going to change it to 0.05 and hit enter. And I like that a whole lot better. Now, I'm going to make sure all of that's selected, and I'm going to come up here to Object, Make Compound Path. Just make compound path, and you'll see what's going to happen as soon as I click on that. That's perfect. That's exactly what we want. So we have this part, and we have this. Well, right now, I think I'll just go ahead and change the colors of these to make it something nicer. I'll make it purple. There we go. So I'm going to move this one back out of the way because I don't need it yet. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to split this in half. And an easy way to help me know how to split it in Business Edition, if you come up here in the ruler, you can grab something like this bar I'm bringing down, and put it right where you think you'd like it. And see, will that work out well? And that'll be perfect if I cut my word right there. So I'm going to come to the knife tool, and I'm going to hold down my Shift key because that keeps my knife in a straight line. While I'm holding down my Shift key, I'm just going to drag across that line that I made and then let go and processed. Okay, I can move this line back up out of the way. I don't need it anymore. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab the lower part of this. Notice it's only selecting the lower parts of the letters. And I can either right click and say group, or I can hit Control on my keyboard and group. I'm going to drag that part away. Before I do anything else, I'm going to grab this part and right click and group. Perfect. All right, so now I'm going to bring my original word back in here, and I'm going to line everything up nicely, how I'd like it to be, I think. And just to make sure that everything is perfectly aligned from side to side, I'm going to grab all of this and come up here to the top. There's this a little alignment button. I'm going to say align left. Click on that, and now everything's aligned perfectly. But I want to have two more of these above it and two more below. So I'm going to click the one above, and I'm going to come over here to the replicate panel, and I'm going to go to the second button in, which is the advanced replicate, and click on that. And once that's clicked on and this part is still selected, I can tell it how many replications I want, or how many copies I want. I'm going to have, did I say 3 altogether? I think I did. So that means 2 more copies. And this lets me position where the copies will be. And I want them to be above the original one that I have selected. So I'm going to click above. Nothing happens. Well, it's because you have to come down here and actually tell it to replicate. Perfect, just like that. Then I'm going to come to this word, or this part of the word. Number, again, is 2, but this time I don't want to replicate above. I want to replicate below, just like that. Whoops, again, nothing happened. I have to hit replicate. Perfect. All right, so I'm going to show you the way you don't want to do this for Cricut Design Space. We can take all this and group it together, and then we can go to File, Save As, Save to Hard Drive, and I'm going to name it Cheer. Now to be able to use this for our Cricut machine, we have to save it as an SVG file. You won't be able to save it as an SVG unless you have the Business Edition. Okay. So there, that's saved. Now let's come over to Cricut Design Space and see what we get. This was my last sample. Let me delete that one. So I'm going to upload an image, and browse. I'm going to browse for Cheer. It should be the last one. Yep, there it is. And open. Okay, there we go. I'm not sure why it didn't work the first time. And over there on my mat, I must also still have Dance, which we know I do. But we're just looking at the Cheer right now. So let's go save. And I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to insert it. Okay, here's the problem with this. Notice this. Let's I try to ungroup this, see if I can. It's going to take a little while because of the issue I'm going to show you about in a moment. So let's get rid of Dance because we're not really thinking about that. We're looking at this one right here, Cheer. What I want you to do is look over here in the Layers panel. Look how many cuts there are. There are so many cuts, and this could really mess up my Cricut machine or Cricut Design Space. It might balk and not like this at all. So I'm going to hide this one. Whoops. Wait, let me group it all. Group. And then hide the whole group. There we go. Okay, so that's hidden. So let me show you what we should have done over in Silhouette before we came to Cricut. So let me get rid of the Dance because we don't want to do that mess up again. What I should have done was, after this was all grouped, I should have come up here to Object, Make Compound Path. Now notice that changed the color of it, but I don't really care. I can change it right back here if I want. There we go. And now I'll go to File, Save As, Save to Hard Drive, and I'm going to name it Cheer 2 this time so we know the difference. And again, I will remember to save it as an SVG so that it will work in Cricut Design Space as a cut file. Now I'm going to come over to Cricut Design Space again, and I'm going to show you the difference between these two. I think you'll be surprised. So I'm going to go to Upload, Upload an Image, Browse. I'm going to go to Cheer 2, There it is. Open. Okay, there it's coming in perfectly. I'm going to say save. There it is. Insert it. Now, what I want you to see over here, okay, with this, well, you know what I'm going to do, y'all? I'm just going to delete this. Delete that first one. Okay, so this is what we have now for this one. It's just one big cut file, just like that. So if I go to make it, it's going to be cut on one mat, just like this, perfectly. So let's cancel that for a minute. Let me make this one smaller, and let me bring that other one back in to show you. Now notice this one again, layers panel, one layer. Let me bring that other one back in to show you now. I'll have to get rid of dance again. So I'm going to have to ungroup this for a sec and get rid of dance. And now I want you to see all of this, since I've highlighted this, all of this stuff over here, all of these little itty bitty cuts is what makes this up. And this is basically the same thing, but this is only one thing on the layers panel. So this one would probably frustrate your machine a bit. Let's see, because each one of these is an individual little piece. See, there's that word, and it has all these little cuts. But this one is just one piece. So again, the bottom line is, if you're working in Business Edition and doing something like this, what you want to make sure you do, if you're doing this for Cricut, is to highlight it all and come up here to Object, Make Compound Path. That makes it like one thing, one piece, one cut file, and you saw that over there. So that's how you do it in Cricut Design Space for Silhouette. Oh, and by the way, I'm getting my Cameo 4 tomorrow, so I hope y'all will stay tuned. I think I'll do a live unboxing. I'm pretty excited to get it. Anyway, if we go to Send, we've just got this one file right here. It's ready to cut. It says it's going to be cardstock, but of course I would cut it out of vinyl. And to be honest with you, the one that I would think it would be gorgeous, gorgeous out of is flocked vinyl. So that's what I would use. So thank you very much for joining me. I hope if you like my videos, you give me a thumbs up and subscribe, hit the bell so that you'll be sure to be notified when I put a new video up or if I'm going live. Also share it across the social media. I sure appreciate it. Thanks again, you guys. Bye-bye.